Hello, everyone. This is Holly. I'm going to send a quick note out to others in the class and share the link. Hangout is open. Busy morning. Okay, so that's sent. That's sent. Post it in the chat, and here we go.
Hello.
Hi. I'm a little running in from outside and a little sweaty and hot. I have people here walking my gardens and bringing me some plants and taking some plants. And I was cell phone in hand to watch the time running back in. So how is Gerard? How is Vasant? Good to see you again.
Thank you. So, did you go to take some vacation last days?
It was a part vacation, part working, helping the kids. But a very short trip up to Baltimore, DC area. Only a few hours away, but a very, very busy few days. So we had 2 days of fun and 2 days of work. But that's also fun. They're trying to get their house ready to sell. And so we were hard at work to try and get the house to look better and start packing. And so they're still hunting for another house. So everything is in transition. Exciting times and lots of rain. They got the lawn mowed about 3 seconds before it rained again, but they got it done. So been a challenging time up there in the rain. They've had a lot more rain even than we have had here. Much of Europe and some of India, right, Vasant? I think you're here. Some of India is also getting some rain too, that season. And the July rainy season doesn't get the Mediterranean?
Yes, Mediterranean means?
The area where Gerard lives. I was asking, hi, Vasant. Yeah, where Gerard is you don't get the heavy rain.
We got some rains lately. So for now, we are content.
And rain starts with R, right? That
was
R. The latest question of the day, right? What words come to mind? And Blanca and Jean both answered that rain was the first word that came to mind for them. So I guess some of Spain and France and Poland and much of Europe is seeing a lot of rain. And Vasant, isn't it starting into the heavy rain time for you?
Yes, we are still having time. It will start in July, but the other part, the west part of the South India is getting rain right now. They have the seasonal rain now.
And that's like the rain in Asia and Korea when I was there. Just when they say rainy season, they mean rainy season, unlike anything I had ever experienced before. Umbrellas are relatively useless. So minimalism was the topic that Vasant wanted to talk about. This was a new concept for you?
Yes, it is because I was living with a minimalistic thought without knowing that it has a name. So,
okay.
So, yeah.
I can see that your mind works that way when you have shared.
Yes, it is about differentiating between what you really need, what you want, what is luxury. So yeah, it was interesting.
I find it a fair number of millennials in the U.S. are embracing. Hey, sideways. How does that happen? You're talented.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Why are you sideways? How do I do that? I like it.
Do
You're,
what?
you're like this. How do you do that?
I don't know.
You don't know. I like it. I want to know how to do that.
It's a new law in Russia. We changed gravity.
I'm gonna get a picture of that. I want a oh, talk again for me, please. Okay, there. I hope I got it. I want a picture of that.
Okay, let me try
Oh
to
goodness.
adjust.
Anyway, some millennials are embracing the minimalist idea or trying to, but it definitely does not U.S. So, but would that work if I just did this? It wasn't. Oh, it does. Oh, all I have to do is turn my camera. Cool.
Easy.
I like it. Being sideways. So I do not succeed very well at minimalist thinking and most ways of life because I incline more to hoarding pictures. But we try to be more minimalist. What do you like about the idea? What makes sense to you about the minimalist philosophy?
So, does minimalism means to avoid unnecessary things?
As homework. So we had I had shared this as a possible reading to prepare you for it. So Vasant is the expert, so we'll let him talk.
I don't know, I'm not an expert, but yeah, I can share some ideas. Minimalism is about what is necessary. So getting rid of all the unnecessary things around you, and it also implies that in future you have to be very careful about possessing things. What you really need when you want to buy something, you have to think twice or thrice about does it really need, and can I live without it, something like that. So yes, it helps people to live a simple and a peaceful life, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your point about future because many people have a pattern here in the US to have an annual garage sale, yard sale, and they annually purge and get rid of junk. But then by the next year, they have more than enough for another yard sale because they don't carry that through to the future.
But anyway, it's a very good tradition. We are trying to adjust this tradition for us. Because just now I have to buy new garage every year, and it's not so comfortable.
With children, it can be especially challenging for sure. We have been following for quite a long number of years now practice that if we buy a new article of clothing, we have to get rid of at least one other article of clothing for every new one we bring in. So we have a bag or box by the door, and every time something new comes in, we recycle to one place or another. The old we don't throw away. We try to give new homes, new life to things. But we have so much. I mean, decorations and things that are not necessary, but I like them. And so it is a cultural fact. Easier for generations of many Asian countries because of space, right? If you have a small country and limited space, you have to follow this more than if you're privileged to have the space, as I think Yvonne does and as I do here. So having places to put it and having all these pretty color matching totes that you can buy to stack things up or the storage. I don't understand this habit of so many storage facilities. Do you guys have these in India and Spain and Russia and other places you've traveled? People pay rent, $50, $60, $80, $100, $200 a month to hide things like in a garage, only it's in a storage unit somewhere else that's locked and guarded. And it's ridiculous. Why? This I do not understand, but many people do this. And now they make it really convenient with iPods. You can, no, not iPods, that's wrong. Pod something. You rent these pods, they call them pods. They're just little trailers that they'll bring to you and park in your driveway or in front of your house or apartment building. And you pay rent to this pod unit by the month. And it's very inexpensive compared to these other storage units. So you can fill it and then park it somewhere, or they pick it up by truck and take it somewhere for you. But what good is that? I do not understand this concept of putting things in a storage place that you don't use.
Because people don't want to throw them away. They like to know that they are somewhere. It's different if you throw your souvenirs, your books, all notebooks. You are likely not to consult them, to check them anymore. But if you know that they are in a specific place, you are content with yourself. I think it's that what's going on with that.
Save it for your kids someday. It's ridiculous. The cost.
It's the feeling of knowing that they are somewhere. They are not lost.
But I think it's something good. When we speak about minimalism, we miss important point that every spent dollar, it's good for your economics and good for your country as well, and good for you as citizen. So urgent people to spend money is something good, and if you go in by the way of minimalism, you will finish very fast, in a very unpleasant place.
Okay. Another point.
I have a point. Talking about minimalism, consumerism, this buying culture, the mass, the possession of products introduced to the people in the 18th or 19th century, I think, when the machines comes into the society, the revolution happened. The mass production had happened at that time. So people are forced to buy many products by the industry. I think the advertisement came, the television came, people were introduced to the products, and they are indirectly misguided or something, guided or misguided to buy things. So yeah, I think we should consider that factor too. Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Gerard.
What would happen if everybody was minimalist? I think the first thing, jobs lost of jobs.
I think it's a how we call it, vicious circle. You start to economize and you lose your job and you have no money and you start economing more and you cannot get away from that.
I love when you guys give me good ideas for collocation posts. Vicious circle, great one.
And it's but it works not for your family. It works for society. So it's about macroeconomic, not about microeconomic. That's why people who speak about microeconomic, I don't know, and microeconomic. Yeah, they think about minimalism as something very good, you know. But in Russia, or twice, I forgot, once at least in my lifetime. So it was a big issue with money, and everyone started to save money. And what happened next? Countries like falling down. Everything was very bad, very bad. So government makes special effort to assure people that everything will be good. Just stop this. Just spend your money. And now I understand that for macroeconomic it's totally different. Holly, you are muted, sorry.
Oh, because I was typing. Oh, I just was saying interesting. My favorite word. Right? Yeah. Yet,
question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if everybody becomes a minimalist, would the economy would drop? Yes, because I don't know about the other countries, but in India, every financial year they mention about the inflation rate increases or decreases. Remember, they are just mentioning increases and decreases of inflation. So the inflation happens. The only difference is it increases or decreases. It's just that the inflation is happening every year. So I think it would make some difference, but it would not be much difference, I think. Maybe the product rates might be reduced if anybody becomes minimalism. I don't know. I don't have any idea. Some economists might help with this.
I'm not an economist, but what I studied, what I got from my life experience, I think that the best state for money is flowing. While money flow from one person to another, from one company to another, we are in safe. It works somehow. Somehow it's products, services, somehow it works. When you save money or you don't have them, everything go in worse, to a worse state.
You have a very different perspective from reality of what you have lived through and what your parents have lived through.
But I think you can find it in American, book about economics. So it's just how it works. Monetary system, all these things. So it's a good when when you have a cup of tea with your friends, it's good to say, I'm not of that consumer person. I just don't buy this new iPhone. I will wait for another one for you, for your friends. But for macroeconomics, it's very bad. And it's not only pros of spending money. Of course, there are many cons, of course. And some of them, it's how we use our technologies, how we pollute yours, and so on. But it's irrelevant question to minimalism. We can use it in good way, in bad way, and not relate to minimalism or maximalism, consumerism. I think, at least not so straightforward.
Like the vocabulary, nice. Gerard.
So the problem is most people don't know how much they can indebt themselves. So there must be a balance between the money we spend and the money we save. So what's which percentage of money should we save, or does it depend on the money we are earning? What, it's difficult to find this balance. And the reason of the crisis here in Spain was the banks encouraged people to buy. You wanted to buy a house, get a mortgage was so easy. You didn't have to have any money saved, because they overtax the apartment you are, or the house you were about to buy. So that has changed. People need to have at least 20% of the value of the real estate.
I think that it's a very good point, very valid point about how much we save and why we need to save, right? For colleges, for our children, all the things. So in terms of economics, it's a dead money. It's a hit for economics when you save money. And but it's nothing to do. That's why inflation exists. That's why they need to put more money into economics to start to keep it working. And it's a very interesting issue. How much should we save? I always struggle with that. I always have problem with that. And not only because I cannot save, but mostly because I cannot even calculate it well. So I'm trying to invest when I have a choice, like make an investment for something or save just in form of money. I always choose investment. For instance, if I can save some money for college or invest to my boy for his teacher, just now I will choose teacher to pay less for college. It works in Russia, other places. So I prefer to spend now if it's possible.
I think it's better to invest money rather than to save, because the type of interest is so low. You are going to lose your money.
You are right, but it's not always possible. Some money we have to save, like a pension plan or something like that. And we used to live in a pretty careless society before, because before our pensions were nice and you don't have to think about it. So Americans have to think about pensions. We don't. We just Putin will pay. So it's not our problem. But now things changing. So our government and Putin, they said we have a demographic crisis, and we just cannot pay for you all as you for the same level of earning. I don't know how to say it, for the same level of life. So it will be worse in the future. So please start to save. Please make this habit. Please think about it at least. It changed our life because no one in our society save money for pension. No, why? We don't need that.
Wow. Yeah, that's hugely different than my reality. And has been in both sides of my family and my husband's family for generations, because we are self-employed, and families whose parents and grandparents worked at the same company for their entire life had pensions, so they are new to this concept, because secure pensions just are very, very rare in the US now.
Well, 5 years ago, it was totally different situation in Russia. We paid pension if you never worked, just by age. We paid pension if you worked 1 year in your life. If you were self-employed, it doesn't matter. We just pay, government just pay. So, but they started to change slowly, just like raise the age of pension when you go to the pension. What is it? I don't know. This day, so they raise it this level, and we have protesters now. They protest. Wow, what are you doing? Pay us.
Wow. Yeah, that is.
And I have a comment.
Change.
Please, Vasant.
Yeah, I have to make a comment about the communism and the capitalism, the major economic ideas we are following. Especially the communism came just because to save the welfare of the laborers, because until then during the mass production nobody cared about the low level laborers health wealth. So that's why they introduced the communism idea, and the communism said that we have to make everything equal, something like that. Their basic motto is make everything equal. But the idea, the reason it fails was uh, that idea, because the world will be the same. It will be equal. It has been it had been uh, had a hierarchical uh, how to call it system throughout the history. So no man will adopt the equal idea. They always wanted to be at the top. Everybody wanted to be at the top. So they want to colonize some other people. So it would never happen. That's why some people said communist idea was failed. Uh, so yeah, I think minimalism will not work in that way. If everybody becomes a minimalist, it would never happen. Yeah.
Yeah, communism, community, but communism. So the syllable stress is different for communism.
Okay, and speaking about communism, it's interesting because people always ask me about communism. I'm from Russia. Tell us how it's going. You are still commie or not? How is Budi commie living? Yeah. So, but but speaking about that, I don't know about the other countries. I know there are many communism countries like China or Vietnam or something else. But speaking from perspective of Russia, we never talked about equality at all. So when we talk about communism, I hear from teacher Lee about equality, I hear from Vasants about equality, but equality is not the idea of communism in Russia, at least. We never talked about that. So, and our pensions in communism, our salaries, our, I don't know, houses, all different. And it all depends of your effort. So it's kind of like capitalism. It was so. It's always, there were always levels of that. So equality not the case. But one thing in communism, what you can be sure about, it means that you will get some minimal level, whatever will happen, whatever who you are, whatever will happen, you will get some minimal level. But no one whom I know is able to stay on this minimal level. So people start to like move from that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I don't think that it's a very bad idea to have a free education, free medicine, healthcare system. I don't think that it's too bad. If government, if country in general can afford it, why not? It's good.
So that goes back to an earlier comment I typed, which I don't think you can see or read. So I wrote, what would happen, or somebody asked, what would happen if minimalism became the norm? And I wrote that I was remembering President Bush, whose response to 9/11 was, go shopping, everyone. That's how you can help your country. Go shopping. Bye, bye, bye. And it felt so wrong to me. And also the idea of Vasant brought up mass marketing and how that's changed culture, it certainly has. And we have a movement in the US strongly towards local and US quality versus mass market, because there's so much junk out there. And so couldn't we spend on quality rather than mass market junk and still be somewhat minimalist? And I don't know. So my thoughts are going there, but also on why can't we help minimally to a minimal level? I also wrote, couldn't and shouldn't we encourage those who have any excess money to spend it on helping others who do not have enough to even live comfortably. Is there something wrong with asking people who earn up here or above to give some of that back down here? Is there anything wrong with that? Shouldn't we be doing that? Isn't that what you're just saying?
Well, in a way, we do that. We do that with a mediator. Government is a mediator between us and between.
Gerard needs to do this because you're not seeing his T for talk.
No
Sorry.
problem, no problem.
Go ahead. So mitigator, you see your government as a mitigator?
Mediator. Someone in the media, in the middle. So we don't have habit to do it like in direct way.
Government's problem or the government's job. It is here too, but doesn't happen. Gerard.
I think not everybody, most people cannot be minimalist. It requires a little bit of knowledge and intelligence, you know. Most people are not even able to recycle, to separate the rubbish between categories. Imagine being a minimalist. It requires some intelligence that most people are not able to do that.
I have only pleasant memories about Spain, and only one strong negative memory about Spain. It's these rubbish bins everywhere. The whole cities looks like rubbish, like I don't know, rubbish plants because of that. So I, from my perspective, prefer to create jobs so for someone to sort this rubbish somewhere far away from town. It's how it's done there.
Okay, I can't. I have to speak up. Why is it create jobs? Why isn't it self-responsibility? Why is it okay for people to throw all that crap out?
Because listen to yourself. You say let's help to poor people. Let's help to poor people. Give them money. Why? Give them the job.
Them crap jobs. Give them crap jobs to pick up your garbage. To pick up your garbage? No.
Sort my garbage, then go to college, and then take my job. You know, if you can, please.
No, that's so demeaning.
Okay, so there is your money. Go to drink, make more children, and buy a gum, right?
You put them in a job cleaning up garbage. Sorry, Gerard. Cleaning up garbage, and they can't get out of it. You cannot live on that. But that's fine for you to have them pick up your crap. No. Obviously, I am not being very polite in my debating, but that's a personal. Okay, Gerard.
I think Ivan means that he doesn't like. We have many containers, different containers with different colors, normal garbage, containers, plastic, and paper.
Yeah, I like them.
And glass. But people are not too clean. I mean, they litter, and they don't pick up the crabs of their dogs, and that's very nasty, I think. I like Spain being like Switzerland, like nobody even can throw a fuck on the soil,
I mean that, but slightly different way. I mean, if I go now with my mobile for 1 hour long through our streets, you will not see any garbage. You will not see any rubbish bin because it's all closed. It's all like well organized. And when I was in Spain, I had a feeling that I living in some rubbish pit or something like that because this rubbish is everywhere. I can't imagine why people do that for own cities.
So a question. So what you are maybe saying, because I was also in Spain not too many years ago, I did not notice the littering problem, but maybe what you're saying is in Russia, you don't see the recycling containers. You don't see the place where garbage is kept.
We have small urns, or I don't know, baskets. They're small, they're well designed. It's for small rubbish, but big rubbish from houses, from industry, they come in a special way. You never see that. You never watch it on roads.
Oh, Huh.
So I'm surprised that you're surprised.
Yeah.
Where do you throw your rubbish?
It's we put it in a special pipe. In every house we have a special pipe. I put it in the pipe, and that's all. The pipe conduit, I don't know how you call it. It's a huge pipe. I put my I put my plastic bag there, and I forgot about it. I will never see. Yes, I will never see it in my life. Never. And it exists in every house, in every building, everywhere. So if you have problem with garbage, just put it there and forget about it. And we don't have it on the roads, not these walkers, not these cars, nothing. It's just clear.
So apartment buildings here have these chutes on every floor, sometimes 2 or 3 places on each floor where people can take and dispose of their trash. But we still have a littering problem. Individual homes do not have these. Do you have those kind of chutes in your summer homes too?
In my summer house, I have. It's like my problem, but I cannot put it outside on road.
Not
It's
visible. Never visible. Wow.
Never visible. I never see rubbish. And when I went to Spain, I said, "Wow, what's wrong with them? Why they spoil this perfect scenery with that?"
Yeah, scenery. You would have the same. Yes. Wow, that's interesting. Huh. And how does Switzerland do it? How did they build a culture that cultivate the culture that keeps having a neat property as a priority?
I think the solution is easy: punishment. You educate your dog by punish. So the same with people. If you punish the people and people get accustomed to do that, to be clean, then it comes easily,
Or communist training? Does it come from the history of?
It's partially it comes from the past, from this communist past, I think, because it was like ingrained in water supply. If you litter in here, you're just not a person who will talk with you. If you just, I don't know, throw away something. But then it was destroyed when USSR fell, and we had some littering. But then people just started to realize, I think, that what we are doing with our lives, we lived it before, we still remember how it was. So it was like kind of self-organization. And we don't have any fights. I can throw away something and I will not be punished, but I never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I agree with you. It would make a much prettier scenery to not have all that so front and center. Interesting.
And my boy and my boys and my family all noticed that. They always asking me why they have this rubbish here. Why? For what? Do they like that or what? Because it was so
they noticed too. Yeah. What about in the classroom? This is where I often, as a teacher, I often think we make the problem magnified in our schools because kids throw garbage all over the floor during class and the teachers do nothing. Most of the teachers do nothing because you have a custodian. That's his job. Sort of like when I got angry with you about have people pick up garbage. Your garbage. Kids should learn to clean up their own mess. Yeah.
I think that we had perfect solution in the past when I was in school. It's like 20 years ago. So, but now we lost it. I don't know how it's now, but 20 years ago it was simple. We had 2 students in every class, like in care of duty. So today it's his own duty day, and on this duty day you have to grab all the rubbish, and it's your duty to keep clean, cleanness in the room. And when you do that once or twice, you start to understand how garbage comes here, and you kind of educated about that.
Happen more, in my opinion, in the U.S. It just really aggravates me that people see the answer as pay somebody else to do it when when you should have some self-respect.
And maybe you can remember, I wrote once on Loop a post about Subotnik. It's a traditional day in May when we all trying to reduce pollution.
Yes.
So it's a good education, like educational event for everyone, and for especially for small boys and girls.
But our leadership here tells us we don't have any problems. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And he pollutes the world with his play golf. Yeah. But he creates jobs because he has 38 planes and trucks and cars and people that follow him around. So that's job. That's helping the economy, right? Interesting, very interesting observation that wouldn't have occurred to me because I thought the recycling bins in Spain were wonderful because they were attractive. Because they were attractive. In the US, they're ugly. They're horrible. So this was my reaction. Interesting.
You have to visit Russia just for you know.
No, I'm glad I asked you for more details because
I think another reason because in Russia have this solution is because it's very cold, you know. Imagine in the winter going to throw your rubbish back at minus 30 degrees Celsius.
Yep, maybe. Yeah. And another thing, if you litter it under the snow, you know, you will not have a chance to get away from that until spring or something. So.
Oops, we lost Vasant. Hey, come back.
That's why we have this Subotnik, the special day in the spring, so to remove all this random rubbish or something.
That's done by volunteers here in the U.S. We have Adopt a Highway. I don't know if this is anywhere else, but organizations or groups or families adopt a 2 or 3 mile stretch and they pledge to pick up the garbage there a few times a year, or it's done by prisoners. They come out, the guards come out with them and monitor them and do nothing. The guards do nothing except watch the prisoners pick up garbage. Yes, Gerard.
I'm wondering, how do in Russia clean the streets and the pavement? Because here we have people that sweep the pavement, you know. But imagine in Russia in the winter, well, there is snow, but also.
Yes, we have a lot of cars, special cars for that. They remove the snow, they remove this littering, and in building apartments, we have a kind of service, janitors. I don't know how to call it.
Janitors or custodians.
Janitor, mostly in Russia, janitor don't remove this garbage. Janitor is a man or woman who is in charge of this conduit system, who is like keep it working, something like that. But sometimes, especially, you know, if it's maybe you don't understand that, but sometimes it's a very icy pavement, it's not safe to walk because of temperature, and it's a work for janitor to put sand on it or to remove this ice, something like this. So it's a lot of money invested in that, a lot of solutions invested in that, because it's a very serious problem for us.
Vasant, I'm not sure if your connection was poor, if you have comments or questions.
I'm here. Yes, talking about the littering, because I'm very conscious about throwing the garbage on the ground. So just before the class started, I ate some 2 bread rolls, and I still keep it in my pant pocket, because when I found a garbage trash can, I will put it in. So I'm very conscious, but Indians are blamed for their littering habit. I don't know why they can't be self-motivated people on this issue. Recently, I was introduced to the term tragedy of commons. It is about the basic human nature of okay, what would make much difference if I do this littering thing? Everybody else would follow that rule, and it would not make much difference if I throw the any plastic bottles on the ground, because I am the only one. The rest of the people would take care of the clean society. It is called the tragedy of commons. But in my opinion, I'm really surprised about the Russian, how they follow the clean
Yeah, me too.
clean circumstances. Yeah, because no citizen would follow until it is forcibly imposed by the government. In my opinion, it is the fact. But I'm really surprised how the Russian people managed to be such a self-motivated thing. Yeah.
I think it's all from families, because don't get it like in very good tones. We have videos as well. Someone can.
But not as widespread, it sounds like. And it's interesting to think through what you said. Would it make a difference if things were not out there and we didn't have to look at the ugly, smelly garbage cans all the time? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I think so, because you always can look it, can see it in Spain, for instance. Why bother to, I don't know, to throw away one small thing? Nothing happen. And if you have like I have, I can watch like 1 kilometer of pavement now and no nothing on it. Why I should throw something?
Yeah. And Gerard, your answer for Vasant's is punishment. So do you have in mind anything that might really be effective and implementable? How could we punish people and make it? We have signs all over our highways that say $100 fine or $80 fine if you're caught littering, but it doesn't stop anything.
Cameras. Big brother. And fining people. 100 euros first time, 300 second time, you know.
Public beheading next time.
It's like, speed limit, that radars work very well.
I'm forgetting the phrase, if it's garner or garnish paychecks. I'll have to look that up. But I think it would have to be something on this level for it to really be effective in the US, because people don't pay their fines. They accumulate 80, 100, 500 parking fines and never pay them until years later when the court catches up with them. So the threat of fines does nothing, and actually fining, we have too many more important things than littering to fine people for. But if you took money from their paychecks, that might work.
But it's an interesting problem. We had that problem in Russia too, that people don't pay their fines. And our government found, I think, elegant solution. So this solution is, if you have some not paid fines, you cannot travel. You cannot use train, air, airports, all those things.
Public transport.
Yeah. Public transport, yeah. You can use bus, but you cannot travel like interstate or something like this. So people started to pay that. And it does not affect poor people, it's important in Russia. Because if you not travel, you can... actually, if you are poor in Russia, you are... no one can punish you. Nothing will happen. You can't do anything. Just don't travel much. That's all. I mean, you maybe don't understand that. Well, I can give you an example. For instance, if some old lady now, with a poor old lady now, will destroy my car or my house or something else, what will happen for her? nothing. He will not. She will not pay nothing. She will not, because she does not have nothing. So that's all.
So
I know it's.
what happens on the victim's side? Does the government pay you, or do you just
No, it's just your
out of
problem.
luck?
No,
You're out
just
of luck.
your problem. That's all.
So a rude reaction would be blank out of luck. A common expression, your SOL. Wow. Yeah, it's complicated. The cultural trainings and the ingrained reactions and consequences or lack of consequences. Accountability is just, I often bring it back to that, to personal accountability is just disappearing in US culture, and certainly reinforced currently. Interesting. Great discussion topic, Vasant.
In Spain, a way to encourage people to pay their fines is if they pay before the fortnight, they have a 50% discount. So.
Oh.
Yeah, we have this too. We have half. You pay half for first month. But it doesn't encourage many people. For it's funny, but we have some people who always pay and some people who never pay, and you have no like no ways to enforce others if they don't care about it.
I want to share a funny comment, British English, American English comment. I just had to Google fortnight to be sure it meant 2 weeks because I couldn't remember for sure. I never hear this word except from British English speakers or in novels. It's not common.
Do you have a word in American English?
It's not common American English usage at all. And I often have to look it up when I read it. And just now I was like, that's 2 weeks, right? So we just say 2 weeks.
Simple. Keep it simple.
I just thought it was funny myself. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to know these things. But it seems wrong that fortnight means 2 weeks. But I don't know the origin. I should look up what the origin of that expression is. So you have 2 weeks to pay. Wow, that might work in the US. I don't think we have this. If it does exist, it's not communicated very well. Maybe in the fine print at the bottom of your ticket. Speaking of that type of discount, though, one of the things that you've probably heard me complain about before, but in healthcare, hospitals, if you pay your bill within 30 days, you can get a discount, but they don't send you the bill until after 32 days. So you have to know that and go in and take care of it on your own. If you wait for the bill, which is what we're trained to do in our culture, if you wait for the bill, then you've lost your discount because they're smart enough not to mail it until it's too late to save money. And this is something I often teach in classes for people coming into the country because many people have hospital bills that are horrifying.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
Okay, thanks. Very interesting conversation. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I liked how he went sideways. I have to figure out how to prop my camera up so I can do that. I think that's great. Fits my personality well. Yeah. And Gerard, you haven't traveled a lot to know if it's the same. And I'm trying to remember in the other countries I visited, if I saw rubbish bins here and there and recycle bins. I think I did. I can't imagine not seeing them. And they're so unattractive here. Vasant, I don't think we heard from you. In India, in your area, are there trash cans visible and rubbish bins and recycle bins visible?
Yes, it's visible and it is classified into biodegradable and non-degradable. But I don't think everybody follows that.
Right.
They just throw the trash into the whatever the label is. They just throw it. But in medical field, I saw in many hospitals they have different kinds of and different sizes, in different sizes buckets, and they are in different color for different wastes. So, but
Right.
people do follow that. Yeah, it impressed me really.
Yeah, but also think about it. I find myself just thinking about if we didn't have to look at any of them. I like Ivan says, I should visit Russia and experience it. That's very interesting for me that his kids and he really noticed that. Yeah, in Korea, they were visible on the streets, not recycling containers because those were kept at designated areas, so not on the sidewalk like in Spain, but trash containers and larger rubbish bins were, and they are ugly. I mean, they don't add a lot to the beauty of a town. How fascinating to not see any of that and have it not be littered. Most places. Very interesting for me. Yeah, great topic. Some good vocabulary. Last comments? Anybody else have question, comment, or suggestion for next week's?
There was a you suggested a topic I saw in the site about unemployment and jobs.
Oh yes, I posted in the chat. Yeah, maybe revisit that.
Yes, that would be interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I was sort of surprised by your reaction, and I'm like, whoa, communication difference here because, yeah, good idea. Might be fun for pronunciation too if we have fewer than 3 people in transcription class. Read and talk paragraph by paragraph. I love when these cultural differences come in, and I find myself really wondering why Switzerland so reputedly so clean. I only saw Basel. I didn't see much of Switzerland, but and why Russians in general follow this cleanliness so much better than other places. How do we make that happen in a civilized way? Why can't it be a natural thing? Yeah. Lots to ponder. Great class. All right. Have a great weekend and see you Monday.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Copy the chat. Okay. Bye-bye.